Good evening, all of you. Good evening, all of you. If you can hear my voice, can you please type a yes in the Q&A box? There is a box in your console. Can you type a yes in the Q&A box? Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I am receiving so much of responses, and currently there are 167 participants in this room. Right. My name is Azariah Samuel. People call me as Sam. You may want to remember me as Sam. Right. So I'm very glad that you are all here. Very, very happy to see your responses. Thank you so much. I'm still receiving yes response. Thank you so much. Right. So today's webinar's topic is on secrets to quickly get your research paper published and hasten your research writing. Right. So this webinar is titled as Secrets because you may be learning many facets about mind, body, and spirit. Right. What you will do with your hand, with your mind. We'll talk in detail about many secrets that were not told before, right? So we will quickly jump into the webinar. So I'll go through some slides. So this webinar is a quintessential webinar for doctorates, research scholars, and students, and you will be having different takeaways today. Right before that, I'm receiving some comments like audio is not clear. Is my audio clear? If my audio is clear, can you type a clear comment in the comment box? Clear. Can you type clear? Yes, thank you so much. Are you seeing the slides vividly? Can you see the slides clearly? Yes, yes, thank you so much. Right, so when I say quintessential webinar, this webinar has many phases which are concocted into a very important stuff, right? So I have packed a lot of informations today. Slides are very clear, thank you. So a lot of informations are packed today, and I am having two screens in my desk, and I'm connecting to you all with my team, right? So my team is also here, and I will be jumping to the comment section. I'll inform you. So there will be a slight delay in the presentation, and I'll just walk through your comments. I'll then and there I'll try to answer your comments. And before we start, I would like to know your name, your full name, and where you are from in this world. This is a global webinar, right? People from all over the world are here, right? Can you quickly type your name and from where you are? Currently, there are 183 people in the room. Okay, I'll read whatever is possible, right? The comments are just flowing in. Daniel, Vikas Patel from Hungary, Shreya, Dr. Kabir, thank you so much for being here. All of you, I'm unable to read all of your names. From Pakistan, you are here. From Egypt, Germany, Kerala. Good. Anjana is from Kerala. Thank you for being here. Dr. Nusrat. Right. Thank you so much for your overwhelming responses. Right. Tripura. Thank you so much. Algeria, Morocco. Good. Kolkata. Right. Thank you so much for your responses. This is an interactive webinar where we will constantly interact with your Q&A box. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer. If I'm not able to answer, we will answer it in the coming week, right? So tomorrow is a holiday for us. We will answer in the coming week. Okay, Ethiopia. You can type in your name and from where you are. Right, thank you so much. Right, so I'll be putting some series of questions initially, and then we'll slowly dive into the webinar. How do you identify yourself? Are you a student, bachelor's or master's? How do you identify yourself? Can you put a comment? Comment is the Q&A box. The Q&A box is the comment here in Zoho webinar. Yes. Research scholar, right? Are you expert or doctorate? Okay, many doctorates are here. Right, what I want to tell you is there are three kinds of people here. Some of them are bachelor's and master's students, research scholars who are actually inside the jungle. Now, if you're a student, you need not worry. The future of education and career is totally dependent on research. You are in the right place. Research scholars, you already know. what is happening, right? And assistant professors, experts, or doctorates, you are in for a real treat today, right? So this entire session is designed to make people as leaders to take up responsibility and enter into the research arena, which is a lifelong process. Good. Yes. Comment box is the Q&A box. Comment box will be written as Q&A. Right. So people are from all over the world. Istanbul, Turkey, Vail. Thank you for being here. Right. Thank you. Right. So I'm really very, I'm excited to be here. I'm from the deepest heart of my heart. Part of my heart, I'm very thankful for investing your time. Right. So in some places I'll go a bit faster. Right. So you can take screenshots wherever you feel like. Right. If you want to take the entire presentation screenshot, that is fine. You can review it later, because many slides are designed with the insight that it will talk to you later. Right. So I encourage you to take screenshots, and then and there I will be reminding you about taking screenshots. Right. So you can use earphones or headphones. Right. And the next important thing is I want you to be seated and relaxed and undistracted. Right. That is the word. Undistracted is the word here. Right. So there are many words for undistracted. I want your concentration to be absorbed in my presentation, right? And it is designed to talk to you internally. So I want your undivided, complete, and full, entire, intense attention, right? So that is the investment we are going to make, even though this webinar is for free, right? I'm receiving some comments like, right? Thank you, Chandra Puri. He says, it's great to be with you here. I'm very grateful for your presence here. Thank you so much. Right. So this presentation, okay, we have not yet made a decision whether to send the video or not. Somebody is asking. Shahid is asking. Okay. Thank you, Shahid. I want you to be here. Right. So your presence live makes a difference. Okay. Okay, so before going into the disclaimer, is my audio clear? Before going into any public presentation, there is a need that we have to, as a company, we have to, as an organization, we have to project our disclaimers. Yes, audio clear and slides are clear. Thank you, Hemant. Right. Thank you so much. Right. So disclaimer is, the first thing is, we do not compete with anybody in knowledge. We don't have any tie-ups with any universities. We are an individual, independent technical pedagogy organization, right? That is operating in Chennai, India, and it is catering around the world. We do have some branches, but this is the place where we actually located, and we have so much of clients all over the world, and all of them are in some way participating in research. Right. So the second disclaimer is, I'm going to tell you many things today. You will know many things today, and knowing and doing are two different things. Right. So that is one important disclaimer. Just because I tell here, nothing is going to turn out. Right. Only if you do certain things experiential way. Research is a long process. It takes 4 years, 5 years, or even more. Right. As you know. So that is a disclaimer here. And all our methods, what I tell here, in the second part of this webinar has 3 phases. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I'll go into that. So all the things what I'm telling here is verified and tested over a decade, right? So we actually started this phenomena, this aristocrat phenomena, in 2010, and it is very successful. It is over 10 years, and we have our uniqueness in research guidance. We do have many copycats, but our methodology, our patternization is totally different. And with that, there is a reason to do this, right? The reason is, most of the knowledge is centralized in universities with great professors, right? One of the important reasons we started this is to decentralize the knowledge. We recruit very valuable people, intellectual people here. We have a team of now we have downsized. Actually, we have 40 plus people. We used to have more. Due to COVID, we have downsized, and the main purpose is to decentralize the knowledge, to mentor people, to solve the research complexity which is otherwise not solved in the universities and other places, right? So there used to be a lot of confusion with many great professors, who are you to guide and other things. But we really do not compete with anybody's knowledge. We are a humble organization. We cater to the needs of researchers who are approaching us, right? So we understand research regardless of your field, right? I'm going to put you a next question. You know, all of the fields, all of the educational fields in the world can be summarized into 7 words: science, technology, engineering, management, humanities, arts, and language. Which one is your field? Can you put your area of research? Can you put your area of research? Science, technology, engineering, management, arts, humanities, and language. Management. Wonderful. Thank you. Science. Right. I'm receiving responses. All of you who are sitting idle, please respond. Right. So this is the only portal where you can interact with me today in this webinar. Camera is disabled. Only you will receive the voice and comments. So feel free to comment and sit in a place and listen. That is what we want today. Japanese. Good. Right. Your responses are overflowing. Very good. Very good. Computer science, Isha, Sharin, Upsana, humanities. Right. So all of the fields of research can be patternized. That is the point I want to make. Research is narrowing down of specialized knowledge. If you call bachelor's as a platform, you can call master's degree as a train that is entering into that platform. And one compartment will represent your research, your PhD knowledge. That is a specialized knowledge. It is not about learning more things. As you know, many of you will know this. It is not about broadening up. In this way, if research is done, it can give you a lot of peace and it can reduce a lot of frustrations, right? So this is an important announcement I want to make. Only if you be here till the end, right? So you will get some understanding and the flow of concepts that is packed into this webinar, right? So I want to emphasize on your patience, right? In the previous webinars, when I was slowly taking people into the webinar, I used to receive comments like, when will the webinar start, when will it end, right? So if you're impatient and restless, right, you will miss out a lot of things. That is the point I want to make. I want you to be patient. This is a humble experience you will have. We are teaching others about many things we have learned over the past 10 years with other researchers, right? So I want to show you some of the mentorship moments that we had before COVID. We used to go to many colleges, reputed institutions like IIT and other things in India. We have in Dubai, we have conducted many programs. These are some of the snapshots from those programs. I just wanted to show you, and this is where I'm sitting now. This is our official address. If you come to Chennai or if you come to India, you can definitely visit our place. You can meet the people, you can meet the team. We have a very friendly team, and you can meet us, right? So today I will be sowing some seeds into your mind. Your mind is like a fertile ground, right? So opinions, ideas from the social media, concepts from the social media are flooding your mind. I will also tell you my opinion, ideas, concepts that I have gathered over the years, mostly pertaining to your mind, your body and spirit, the entirety of you putting yourself into research, right? So these seeds may go destroyed. Only some seeds will fall into the fertile land. Some seeds will be destroyed, right? So take snapshot, review this webinar, understand in a way that is useful to you in the coming days, right? So these ideas and concepts, I'm going to give you a lot of psychological concepts today, a lot of shortcuts today, tactics, short-term tactics and long-term strategies we'll discuss today about winning your research. So how many of you are ready? How many of you are ready for this journey with me for the next 2 hours or so? Type ready comment. Yes, thank you so much, Andy, Shreya, Salma, Ayal, Hemant. Thank you so much. Again, is my audio clear? I'm receiving some comment as blurry audio. Is my audio clear? Yes, thank you so much. Right, ready 100%. Ready. Thank you so much. Clear. Right, so my audio is clear for most of you. If it is not clear, right, if it is not clear, if it is low, I want you to check your internet connection. Right. So I'll be telling many things which will come as a shock to you initially. Right. So this is like a wave. One second. Yes, Jagadish Kumaresan, I can see your comment. Okay, 1 second. There is quite a bit delay in the internet. Right. Okay. We'll anyway proceed. Right. So when I say many things, this might come as a shock to you, and some of you may go into a denial state. Right. So the essence of this webinar is to bring you awareness. The reason for this webinar is to bring you awareness to banish your, self-doubt, frustration, right, acceptance. Right. The room is full now. We have 250 attendees for the day. Good. Right. So after this webinar, if you accept certain things, you will enter into experimentation stage and you will search for a new beginning. Right. You will search for new meaning in your life, and you will integrate the skills and attitudes and behaviors that we will be talking about today. Right. So this is a 7-step cycle of change that will happen inside you. Right. I'm receiving a comment. I'm jumping into the comment section. Majda, I cannot read the comments of others participants. Yes, you will not be able to read the comments of other participants. Then and there, I will address them individually if they put a very valuable question. Right. So that is how we have designed this webinar. Right. So the first concept, right? How many of you are having pen and paper? Pen and paper to take notes. Say I. Say I in the comment box. Yes, thank you, Shreya. Hemant. Yes, you can put I. Right, if you have pen and paper, I want you to take some important notes, and you can Google it later. Right, so there is a phenomena in psychology which is called as Dunning-Kruger effect, which was discovered by Dunning and Kruger. Right, which says that human beings, normally we human beings tend to think that we know so much than we actually do. Right, so we think so much about ourselves, and this is called as Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a psychological effect we internally have, right? We internally have, and if we are flopped inside the academic ego, right? Most of the time, we have studied the same subject for years, and we may be subjected to Dunning-Kruger effect. The reason I'm telling this is, right? Many of you here are very learned people, right? So for a brief moment, I want you to empty your mind and listen without any preconceived notions, right? So I have seen many learned people, any new idea comes and they become defensive, right? So if that is the case, I want you to empty the mind. Only the empty cup can bear some coffee or anything. There is a Chinese proverb which says that empty the cup and you can fill more, right? So I want you to empty the mind and be receptive to the ideas that is put up here, and after that you can skeptically analyze which is right or wrong, right? So we are entering into the webinar. This webinar has 3 phases. The first phase is about your instincts. It's about your internalization. It's about your intrinsic behavior. It's about your mindset, right? The second phase is totally about your motivation for the research. I'm not talking about the psychological motivation. I'm talking about the intellect you should need to do research, right? That will be the second part of this phase, which will be the red color, the orange color part is the important phase in this webinar, right? And lastly, we will enter into intuition. What are all the methods actually you need to follow? What are all the tricks and shortcuts? I'll be, concisely I will be presenting into that. And you can take a screenshot of this image. This is your entire research These are the factors, these are the things. You need good ideation, you need novel ideation. We call that as novel conceptualization, right? You need a good new concept for research, right? And that you need inspiration. You have to operate your research in spirit. You cannot do it for a degree, you cannot do it for your own publication, you cannot do it for your own promotion. World is changing, right? What will you contribute to the society, right? That will be done in spirit, and all your implementation has to be done with intuitive methods. You cannot copy others. How many of you are following me? Can you type I follow comment? I follow, please. I'm waiting for your comment. Yes, thank you, Ali, Asif, thank you, Ranjit, Patmadas, Sheetal, thank you. Right, so this is a model we will dissect today, right? So this is a model we'll dissect today. You have to sit relaxed, embrace the process, and be a 3%er, right? What do you mean by 3%er? Every 100 people who start research, only 3 people complete. They are called the top percenters, right? I'm telling this, you can check with your friends, and many who start research do not finish research, right? Many who complete doctorate do not enter into digital leadership, or simply leadership, mentoring selflessly. They do not enter that noble profession, noble process, right? So this is a huge journey. This is not about degree, this is not about PhD. I'm talking about research. There is a huge difference between degree and what you do, right? How many of you are clear what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the PhD degree. I'm talking, even if you're a bachelor student, even if you're a master student or a PhD scholar or a doctorate who is listening here, I'm not talking about degrees. I'm talking about the process, about the entire journey that you will do till death, right? Your entire identification becomes like a researcher, right? So we are entering into phase 1, right? So we are entering into phase 1. This is about intrinsic transformation, right? Intrinsic transformation means what is on the inside will be showcased on the outside, right? There is a proverb, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, I'm going to pack a lot of psychological concepts. If you are not prepared mentally, nothing is going to enter into the extrinsic world, right? What is seen on the outside is just mere the reflection of the inside, right? Hope you all know that. So I'm going to talk about some psychological concepts quickly, very quickly, and that will form the basis of all your research, be it bachelor's, master's, or doctorates, anyone, research scholars, professors, right? So that will form a basis of this, right? How many of you can start interacting? How many of you know this concept, Maslow's hierarchy of needs? The first, the bottom plate of this pyramid is about psychological, physiological needs. The need for breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, excretion, all these basic needs, only if it is met, you can move to the next part of the pyramid, right? Security of the body, your health, your employment, resources, your family, health, and property. Only if that is satisfied, you will move into friendships, family, and sexual intimacy. And the fourth part of this pyramid is self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect for self and others. This fourth part is where your PhD journey or your research journey begins, right? If you are not satisfied in the bottom 3, physiological needs, safety, belonging, right? These esteem needs are meaningless, right? So that is where things comes into play: esteem, self-esteem. And the later part is self-realization, where you transcend yourself and you actually talk about morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving. That is where, especially for the doctorates who are here, you will have to enter into self-realization, because you have already achieved the self-esteem part, right? So this is just to bring you an awareness, right? Bringing you awareness that research is actually a stepping stone for self-actualization, where you can express yourself, where you can express your creativity, and you can achieve a lot, right? So there is a quote from Bhagavad Gita which says that the mind is always restless, self-willed, right? It does something. It's like a second person inside you. It is self-willed, it is hard to train and impetuous, right? To master the mind seems as difficult as to master the mighty winds, right? So I'll go through some of the mental states that we are experiencing, that we researchers experience on a day-to-day basis, right? So how many of you are with me? Can you type a with me comment in the in the Q&A box? With you, can you type with you? I'm going to Saima, thank you. Salma, thank you. Saked, Adumu, Gayatri, thank you. Samuel, thank you. Right. Can you all type with you so that I'll know that you are listening to me from whatever place in this planet you are. Thank you so much. Shefali, Wail, Shalu, thank you so much for your response. Right. I'm going to go through some mental states which you might be very familiar. I'm putting all these slides to bring you awareness of the daily struggles. If you are clear inside, most things will be clear outside, right? Ultimately research will be 5 facets. You will have to write a research proposal, research papers, do a implementation, write synopsis, thesis, and finally put some references and complete. Even though the products of research are 6 to 7 products only, anybody who is doing anywhere in this world PhD, they will be doing these 7 things only, 7 or 5 things probably. But on the inside a lot goes, right? But on the inside a lot goes. We tend to be overstimulated, we tend to be overscheduled, we don't have time for anything, we are mostly lost and lonely, right? So most of you are frustrated with things, with future insecurities, what is happening, right? And the inability to remain quiet. And most of us have educational ego. We don't know, we have learned so much in your field, but we are not yet recognized, right? So these are some of the mental states. These are some of the struggles of a researcher, right? How many of you have experienced these things? Concept block. Say I in the comment box, Q&A box. Concept block, right? You were unable to derive at new concepts. How many of you are stuck in this first thing? Unable to derive new concepts from literature reviews. I'm receiving many I and me's. Good plagiarism. Good. I'm looking at your comments, all of your comments. Dr. Rabia, thank you. I have experienced. Okay. Right. So concept block. Right. So at the end of third phase, I will tell you five I's, 5 words starting with I. Right. So you will figure out how to create new concepts. Writer's block, plagiarism, research novelty, publication frustration. This is a real world problem now. Publication frustration due to COVID and other scenarios. We have a huge delay in publication. Performance angst, right? I have a slide for that. Performance angst, how you perform in front of others in your PhD vivos or research presentation, right? You are always overworked and tired, and you might have an inner dialogue, why didn't anybody tell me these before, right? So this is where we are heading into. These are again some of the problems: idleness, right? Depression, public speaking anxiety, not being victims of anger, but still you have anger and frustration inside. Quietness over loneliness, rejection, right? So to address all those things, I'm proposing a psychological model, right? So the transformation model, which I'll be telling you now, right now. If there is one ideal for research candidature for a researcher, you will have to become like a grand strategic warrior with clear vision, right? So each word here in this sentence, each word here has some significance, right? You will have to become a grand strategic warrior. Strategy means It's a Greek word which says strategos, means leadership, right? Right. You'll have to become a great warrior with clear vision. I'll tell you what is strategic planning. Strategic planning is always long term, right? And technical tricks and tactics, what you do on a daily basis, is a short term process, right? You'll have to adapt both to become a grand strategic warrior, right? So we will see certain things, how to remove emotions and be logical, focus on the destiny. Your destiny is to clear this final defending, be it publication or a PhD vivos. It has to be defended and it has to be fought with intelligence and subtlety, right? So addressing the root problem. So most of the, I have seen with many intellectual people, the core problems lies in their procrastination. How many of you have this problem? Your comments are safe, only I am reading it. How many of you have this problem? Say I, if you are bold enough. I have seen many intelligent people, they have this problem. They have this problem of procrastination and self discipline. I'm receiving some I's and me's. Thank you so much for being open, right? So this is called a spiritualize your warfare, right? The PhD is not a joke. It is not for ordinary people, at least hereafter, at least after 2020. It is not a joke, right? You might be knowing in India, many basic entry level jobs require PhD, teaching professions, lecturers, right? I have this problem, procrastination. I'm a procrastinator, someone is saying. Good, right? So this takes a lot of heart to accept things, right? Procrastination, we all have this problem, right? So the cure for procrastination is the sense of deadline. If you have a deadline, you will not procrastinate. Yes, that is the solution. I have condensed a 15 minutes TED talk. You can Google in the TED search engine procrastination. You will end up in a very beautiful presentation about it. 15 minutes presentation. Finally it says that if you have a strict deadline, you will never have procrastination problem, right? So to encounter these problems, first, there is a conventional wisdom that says that PhD is for passionate people, right? Passion has nothing to do with research. You will have to become a sincere student, even if you have completed a doctorate in a very specific field. I actually gave an analogy, like platform is bachelor's and the train coming inside the platform is master's and the compartment is PhD. The specialized version is PhD, and it has to be purposeful. You have to keep on publishing papers, right? You have to keep on publishing papers. You have to ignore conventional wisdom. People will say 1,000 things, and you should have daily goals and weekly wins chart. This is the important stuff here. Focus daily goals and weekly wins chart. What did I achieve? Today is Saturday. Today is my review day. What did I do the last 6 days? Did I spend it usefully, or did I waste it on my own emotions or my own self? Did I contribute to others? Did I contribute to my employees? That is how I ask. So become purposeful for the community, for the society. We usually take research very personally, right? If we finish research and get a PhD, we might get a job. That is how people mostly see, right? So research is a crusade. It's a lifelong mission, looking beyond battles. You have to plot several steps ahead. In the second part of this webinar, I will be telling about 6 stages. I'll be telling about 6 stages of research, what you exactly need to do. Every step is plotted in this webinar. If you follow this webinar to the core, that you will look beyond your battles. You will look research as a very subjective, very objective thing, and you will encounter it, right? This is the greatest challenge for researchers, being an apprentice, right? There used to be many jokes about supervisors and mentors, right? But the real mentors, you will have to become a mentee. That is where all the apprenticeship lies, right? And this research has to become your magnificent obsession, your burning desire, and you have to be deeply passionate about your purpose, right? And this is the word, right? This is the word if for the entire webinar: commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency. That if you have these two things, everything else will follow, right? And the determination to be extraordinary from the mediocre, right? So there is a saying in English: mediocrity attacks excellence every time, right? If you think this is enough for you, if you think 2 or 3 publication is enough for you, mediocrity attacks excellence every time, right? So you should have, as a researcher, you should be having unwavering motivation, unwavering inspiration in solitude, when you are alone, when nobody is watching, right? Undivided attention and focus, deep work, right? How many of you are into deep work daily? At least 1 or 2 hours journaling, digging deep into things. How many of you are into deep work? Say I. I'll read out your names. Good. Ali Asif, thank you. Muhammad Hassan, thank you. How many of you know what is deep work? Right. I'll quote a book here. You can read it if you will. Right. And there is an author called as Carl Newport. He is an international author. He's a very famous author. In Carl Newport, Calnewport. Carl Newport. Yes, Kabir. Thank you. Right. So deep work by Carl Newport is a good way to start. Right. So many of your problems, many of your research problems, your unconscious issues are solved in deep work. Right. So when it comes to deep work, you will learn selective things. Right. You will not enter into the wealth of information. What information triggers dopamine response in your brain. So actually, this social media are making us addictive, right? They give so much of information, right? So there are a lot of influencers who give so many information, ruminating on informations about COVID, fear, spreading fear, other things, right? So a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention, right? As researchers, you will have to focus on these 8 things alone. You can take this is an important slide. You can take a snapshots. Yes, Hina, I can see your questions. Okay, I'm just jumping into the comment box. All right, so one of the attendees saying the main problem is supervisor does not guide properly. Okay, that's why we are unable to reach the real research. Right, okay, no problem. Right, most of the this is not to blame on supervisors. They are quite busy, and they will act as mentors. I'll come to that in the second part. Right, what is their role? So we'll focus on this slide. There is a 8-point slide that you can take a snapshot. So deep thought, these are the things that will stick to your brain. These are the things that is going to stick to your brain. Right, I'll go through the slides. Deep thought, selective learning, right? So I have seen some researchers, they bring 100 papers in a pen drive, right? So that is not going to work out, right? So learn very few things, but sharp things, very sharp things, selective learning. And this is like a formula, POS, right? And first thing is to do the important things. That is explained in this Eisenhower box, right? So urgent and important should be done first. Important and not urgent should be planned. So in your diary, you can have these 4 sections in your diary. If you have a journal, if you have a habit of journaling, right? So journaling can save you tons of time. It can save you a lot of time, right? So you can put a section of to do, to plan, to delegate your works to your subordinates if you have, and to eliminate all the things which is both not important and urgent, right? So this is about prioritizing. What the things that is getting prioritized actually gets organized. If it is organized, you can schedule the time. You can schedule the time and then work on it, right? So the next concept is about having curiosity. As we grow old, thank you, Manisha. Manisha is giving a comment, very informative presentation. Thank you so much. Right. Kabir is talking about Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, I'll research on that. I did not include that in here. Right. So, childlike curiosity, asking deep and meaningful research question about your own research. Introspective reflection. How will my you take Sir Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci. I was telling the actor's name. Right. So you take many great scientists' name. Those names have exceeded their lifetime, right? Because they were introspectively reflecting daily on how their research will help the next generation, and they have journaled everything. Their diaries are available online. You can see how much of effort they have taken, they have put into journaling. They have taken some maniac note taking. We call that as maniac note taking. If your friend is seeing that, they may be laughing at you, right? And then still having intellectual humility, intellectual humbleness. Okay, I'm a part of a big stuff. That is what they have felt. They have not exposed their educational ego. This is the answer. They had intellectual humility, right? So research is a journey into the unknown, and as of 2020 we are experiencing a huge paradigm shift. Yes, how many of you agree to this? There is a huge paradigm shift. I'm talking to 250 people right now through digital mode. Yes, this is a huge paradigm shift. We did not, I used to conduct webinars for seminars for 25 people. 10 times digital experience have influenced, enhanced the experience 10 times. Not a joke, right? Right. So there is a huge paradigm shift which will pave way for the phase 2 of this webinar, which is what you should do with your hands and body, right? From competence to excellence. The first part, I will just summarize the first part very quickly, because I have packed tightly a lot of information. I started with Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy of needs and self-actualization, and I dived into the states of the mind, struggles of a researcher, the transformation cycle you want to have in this journey. I told you about why research is a lifelong mission. What is the importance of being a mentee, keeping learning as a lifelong process, and magnificent obsession. I told you about the important two words, commitment and consistency, and about being excellent in day-to-day life, right? And about deep work, and about introspection, intellectual humility, and about paradigm shift. How many of you are with me now? How many of you are with me? Can you type with you comment? Again, we are going to take a short break now, a 5-minute break now. We will move into the phase 2, which I have put in display. Right. There are 245 people right now. Thank you so much for being with me. The time in my display is 7:31. We will meet by 7:36 in my display, right? It is visible to you in the screen. Thank you for being with me. Most of you are with me. Thank you so much. Right. I really appreciate your time for being with me, right? So we will enter into phase 2, where we will learn about the hero's journey, right? The scientific journey, research writing journey, what you need to do extrinsically, right? Outside you. So assuming that you are prepared intrinsically, the phase 2 will take shape, and this will form. We will talk about the intellect, the intelligent part of, the intellect part of you, the mind and knowledge that you have accumulated over the years, right? So what you need to do from moving from competence to excellence, right? So we will take a short break, and I want you to make this, during this break you can comment on what you are working on right now among these 20. This is action break. You can just put a comment what you are working on in this 20 things. among this 20 things, what are you working on? You can feel free to take snapshots. You can feel free to take snapshots. 5 minutes break. Yes, Samuel. Right, 5 minutes. We will meet by, in my time it is 7:32. We will meet by 7:36 or 7. You will receive a certificate also for this webinar. Someone is asking. Right, we will go for a break. Thank you. Right, all of you, I'm back. How many of you are ready now after the break? Can you quickly type a ready comment? Can you type ready so that, okay, thank you. Navina, thank you. Ranjit, thank you. Right, all of you, can you please interact that to make me know that you are here? Right, so we are moving into phase 2. We had a short break now. Right, we had a 5-minute break now, and I'm back here waiting for you. If you are here, please type ready. Thank you so much. All of you can type ready. Just 5 words, please. Okay, good. Right, so we are moving into phase 2 of this webinar, and it is about work. It is about work, what you do, right? What you do with your hands, with your mind. With your mind is phase 1, with your hands, right? With your movement, with your association with supervisor, with your publication efforts and other things. Work done for reward is inferior to the work done for wisdom, right? Wisdom is, you will seek wisdom even if you don't have any recognition, if you don't need any recognition also. That is the excellent part of seeking wisdom. Set your hearts on the work and not on the reward. This is a saying from Bhagavad Gita, which is regarded as a sacred text in India, right? So this is a quote from Epictetus: the struggle is great, the task is divine. Right, so we are going to talk about the task here to gain mastery, freedom, happiness, and tranquility. Right, the serene nature of, I used to say to my colleagues, research is actually peace if it is done rightly. Research is peace if it is done rightly, right? So we are going to talk about the scientific research writing journey, right, and the associated process in publication. This is the phase where I will go quite quickly. Go quite quickly. You can take snapshots. You can take screenshots wherever you want to, in your device, if you are connected from the computer, or if you are connected from the laptop. Laptop or mobile. You can take a snapshot. Right. So this is a abstract taken from Joseph Campbell book. Right, so this is the name of the author, Joseph Campbell. He says about the hero's journey from the normal world to the unknown world. Right, as I told you earlier, research is a journey into the unknown. Research is a journey into the unknown, and to venture into the unknown, you will actually have to do the first step is to start. Right, without starting, without keep on thinking. I have seen many people who used to think a lot about what will happen after 2 years, after 3 years, right? The first thing is to start. If you feel like you are starting, you have to start. This is a call to adventure, right? And then the second part is meeting a mentor. That is where we come into play. Your supervisors come into play, right? So that is the second part. Right, I'm still receiving the older comments. Some way my system is slow. How many of you are on par with my audio? I have a huge delay in the comments. I will ask one of my team member to check. Okay, audio is good. Okay. Right, so there is some delay. I'll just anyway proceed. So after meeting the mentor, you will face trials and failure. You will face a lot of trials and failures, and that will set a tone for growth of new skills. That will set a tone for growth of new skills. And this is where the elimination process occurs. This is where the 3%ers will survive. Right? This is where the 3% will death or rebirth. and then you will have a re-evaluation of things, and that will set your atonement, and you will be returning to the normal world as a changed person. These factors in hero's journey I have mapped in the intellect part, your motivation for research, right? So this is arduous, adventurous journey. This writing journey it starts from novel conceptualization till scientific publications. This hero's journey is from admissions to award and adventure beyond, right? And I have mapped this entire journey into 6 stages, which I will display right now. Right. So our PhD expectation versus reality. You might have one goal, and the reality is like very distorted, right? So these are the 6 phases that I'm going to explain today. How many of you are ready to take screenshots? Because you all know all these things. You are all from academics. I'm not going to delve deep into that. I'm just going to tell you what exactly you need to do. What exactly you need to do in these 6 phases, in these 6 stages. What exactly you need to do. If you're a research scholar, you will know all these things. If you're a student or a master scholar, just take snapshot and ponder upon it, right? If you are the first 2 stages is for the students, the second 2 phases are for the research scholars, and the last 2 phases are for doctorates, right? So it is clearly mapped what you need to do. See, this is the word, exactly is the word, right? Nothing is more than this, because it might look simple, but it might take years for you to publish a paper. It might take 1.5 years, right? So these phases are very important, right? This is the first phase. Please take a snapshot. Many of you are ready here. Thank you so much. Right. So you have to derive at a novel concept. There are only 3 types of novel concept: invention, discovery, and innovation, which I'll be talking in the 3rd phase of this webinar, today's webinar. Right. So novel concept, and then next a research feasibility report, whether whatever your conceptualizing can be done or not, which is done in the 2nd report, research feasibility report. You will have to write a 1-page report abstract. And then the important product is research proposal, where your supervisor will go through that. Research proposal actually has 12 elements to that, right? The expected outcomes, the possible directions it can take, and everything drafted into a PowerPoint presentation. Usually you present it in front of a committee, in front of a panel of industrial and academic experts who are previously doctorates, right? Right. So these are the things this is for the students and scholars. Many of you might know these. Many of you might have undergone these stages, right? So this is still the first thing. For students, how many of your students here? How many of you are following the students who are bachelors and masters? Yes, Sayed, thank you. Okay, Gibran is here. Ranita is here. Thank you. Right. So okay, Malik, thank you. Right. This is for you all students. The initial phase of research. Taima, student. Thank you. Yes, Kabir. Right. So you can take snapshot. These are all the things you will have to ponder upon. There is nothing to explain. Right. The second phase. The second phase is the transition from student to scholar. So once you have formulated a concept, once you have done all the necessary things required for a research, you will enter into the second phase, which is transiting from scholar to a writer, right? So this is a transition stage where you will start writing a systematic review paper. You know why I have put this first? The systematic review paper holds all the secrets to your entire original research paper. So actually there are 3 types of research papers. One is the original research article, ORA. They call it as ORA, original research article, systematic review paper, writing and publishing a conference paper. Now many things have changed into e-conferences. due to COVID, right? So graphical abstract. If you do not know what is graphical abstract, just put this word in Google. Graphical abstract, video abstraction, poster presentation, right? All these things have become the electronic format, poster presentation. Now we will be designing in and communicating in electronically, right? Things are changing. Research is the only field that has not come down in COVID. Even the food industry has come down. I have many of my clients who have completed PhD during COVID. How did they have PhD vivos? Digitally. Zoom. In Zoom, they had from the comfort of their home, they launched the video and they presented in front of a panel who are also in the remote, right? So all these things are changing digitally, right? So the third phase is for the scholars, the scientist phase. This is a very important slide. Any of the research in this world can be packed into these 5 methodologies: experimental methodology, statistical methodology, computational methodology, observation methodology, or case studies. Nothing more than this. You just give me, you can just ponder on inside your mind. There is nothing more than these 5 methods in research. Any of your research will fall into these 5 categories. How many of you agree to this? And how many of you disagree? We should see. Can you put a type, agree or disagree? Yes, Syed. Thank you. Many of you are agreeing. Agree. Okay, thank you. Nashrat. I'm getting some delay in the comments. I don't know why. My other system is quite slow today. Okay, thank you. Ola Wale. I don't know how to read your name. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Thank you. Many of you are agreeing, right? So this is the third phase, which you need to focus only on your research. If your research is on statistics methodology, learn everything about statistics. If you're dedicate your life for your methodology, that is what I would say, right? So many people have a hard time in fixing on the methodologies, right? I would ask you to get fixed on your methodology that you are doing. This is going to save you years of time, right? So fourth thing is about becoming the scientific author and getting published. These are the things. And in the fifth point, I will go deep into the publication modes, which is very, very important part of this webinar, right? This is where all the secret lies. This is the phase 2 is where all the secret lies, and phase 3 is where implementation lies, right? So I want you to wait for phase 3 also. We'll have another break shortly, right? So next comes the publication journey. After this, somebody is strongly agreeing. Thank you, Kabir. Good. It's good to see such comments, right? So becoming the scientific author, right? So that is stage 4, and next phase is about the publication journey, right? As you can see from these slides, the people with weapons are actually peer reviewers. How many of you know this concept of peer reviewing? Peer reviewing, anonymous, double-blinded peer reviews. Can you say I know? Can you say I know in the comment box, in the Q&A box? I know about anonymous peer review process. Anonymous peer review process. How many of you know about the anonymous peer review process? Thank you, Olawale Olawo. It's nice name. I hope you're from Nigeria, right? Or Egypt, or some part of Africa. Good to have you. Okay. So this publication journey, next slide is very important, right? So these are the things you should do before publication. That is why it is told as a secret, right? You cannot tell it in a word. There are a lot of things to do. You should have a rapid technical review. I'll quickly go through our website, right? you can see I hope you are seeing my screen, right? So you have a publication fitness. We have a service called as publication fitness where you can check the fitness of your manual. Right. So this is called as rapid technical review, proofreading. So before even submitting into the journal, you need to do all these things: editing services, checking services, preparing graphical abstract, video abstracts. And then the fifth stage is the phase 5 is becoming a doctorate and dwelling in documents, dissertations, publications. Right. I'm having a huge delay in the comments. I don't know why. Okay. Phase 5 is becoming a doctorate and dwelling in D's. There are many D words associated with doctorates, becoming a doctorate: deadlines and deliverables, documents, discussions, declarations. Declaration is in your public vivos, whether you will be awarded or not. The decisions is based on the unique knowledge you contributed to the society, right? And then comes the sixth phase, which is for the doctorates and post research. What you can do after your research, you can exude your rational leadership, right? The peer review committee, the anonymous peer reviews has accepted, the world has accepted, your university has accepted you as a doctorate. Now you may be okay. I'll quickly jump into the comment box. I'm receiving a comment: why are you not telling my name? Ikram Shafia. I don't know where you're from. You can put in your comment box. I have read your name. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you for being here again. So people are joining in. We have only 40 people now. There used to be 240 people before the crash. Okay. Right. Okay, we'll continue with this slide. Right. These things happen with the digital world crashes. Okay. Is my screen visible to you? Yes. Right. So we'll start from here. Okay. I'll go quickly as possible. I hope I left it here. So these are the things what doctorates or post research you can do. Right. So you can co-author a book. You can do a course. You can do e-learning. E-learning is a fastly growing platform. You can arrange webinars in your institutions. Right. So how many of you can do that? You can approach me. Right. So I'm willing to take free webinars for your flock, for your students, for your scholars, for your entire college. We can arrange a webinar. You can refer and earn rewards. You can boost your academic performances. There is something called a citation score booster. These are the things you can do post your research, after your doctorate, after you have received your degree. Book editing, proofreading. You can start taking snapshot. How many of you are taking snapshots? Can you type I? This is an important slide. These are the things you will do after your PhD. This is the next slide. Good. Right. So this is a bonus I have not included in the journey, but this is a career transformation journey. You know, after during your, if you are a research scholar, or if you're a student, if you're venturing into research, you will have to do this. Right. You will have to rewrite your CV. You have to create LinkedIn networking. You have to write a good cover letter when you apply for other careers, right? Mentoring statements for academic careers. All these terminologies, you can Google it. These possess distinct values. Each of the words what I have put in display. 4 competency statements. So based on what I told you earlier, the paradigm shift actually happens here with your career, right? So we move on to phase 3, right? We move on to phase 3. I'll just jump into the comment section. So currently 53 people have joined again. Okay, right. Anyway, we'll see. We'll take it as you people are lucky to be in phase 3, right? So it is about intuition, right? It is about a part of mind where you need to be careful as crossing an iced over stream, alert as a warrior in enemy territory, courteous as a guest, fluid as a melting ice, shapeable as a block of wood, clear as a glass of water, and focused as an artist. It is taken from the book Tao Te Ching, right? So I'm going to explain a researcher model, which we call it as the noble researcher model, where we decipher the minds of Leonardo da Vinci, Sir Isaac Newton, and Albert Einstein. So we are in the third part of this diagram, right? So it is about methods, right? So the first thing is about novel conceptualization. There are 3 types of novel concept, which is the first one is invention, the second is discovery, and the third is innovation, right? So since discovery and innovations are very saturated now, we actually are into innovations, right? So invention and discovery requires certain things, which is called as flash of genius, right? It is all about the specialized knowledge which will take you from excellence to be a creative genius, right? So invention, innovation, discovery is all about research, which will which is the most confidential knowledge, which will proclaim your intelligence beyond your individuality, right? So when Leonardo da Vinci was conceptualizing all these materials in his art, and when Sir Isaac Newton was theorizing through his work Principia Mathematica about the celestial objects and its gravity and other forces, and when Sir Isaac Newton was equating about energy equals velocity of light, when he was doing all these works, people asked him, Charles Darwin, when he was theorizing his origin of species by means of natural selection in 1959, people asked, what made you do all those things? They simply replied, we do not know. We got a flash of insight. We have got a flash of genius. That is what is referred to as intuition. It is given to you when you do focus work, right? So these are the this is an important slide. These are the 5 I's which I spoke earlier, where you will do if you do anything in research, right? Research proposal, if you write a small abstract for say 400 words, right? If you write a research paper, it may be a conference paper, it may be original research article, systematic review paper, thesis, or synopsis. These 5 things are your compass, right? You will have to, this is where your writing and your entirety of writing comes into play. Initiation, you will write why, when, what, how, where it is done, who is doing it, what is being done, when it is done. Everything is initiation of research. The second I is inspection, right? When you start with your novel concept, you will inspect your earlier research. What has been done earlier? What is the research gap identified? What is your problem statement and scope? And then you will inquire about the scientific methodology used. I told you there are only 5 methodologies: experimental methodology, laboratory methodology. I have displayed earlier before the crash, right? So inquiry, interpretation. Interpretation is about implementing your results through the scientific methodology, and you will derive at an intuitive insight where you will report and you will direct towards your future. what should be done next, right? So these are the 5 steps to construct any research writing. This is a simple 5-step problem, 5-step formula, you can call it. With these 5 elements, you can actually write these research writing, right? One second. So these are the 5 steps to construct any research writing, be it research proposal or be it a literature review. First, you will do the outline. You will collect references. That is the first thing you will have to do, right? So say from 25 to 80 references. That is all is about your PhD research. You will have to dive in deep for the last 4 to 5 years of published research. 4 to 5 years of your published research. How many of you are following me? How many of you are able to hear me clearly? Can you type I follow comment? I follow. Because it is so vague after the crash. I have taken into another system. Thank you so much. All of you are following. Thank you. Right. I was so upset after the crash, actually. Right. Right. Anyway, January 2nd, we are having another webinar, which is similar to this. We will approach you through the email, right? So I'll come with new contents, and we will definitely meet there, right? So so far, it was actually a bitter road uphill today, right? So the flow was crashed, everything crashed, right? So I was mentally collapsed actually. So it is about the journey. It is about the journey, the continuous pursuit of the next big thing. The next big thing is on Jan 2, right? So you can mark the date. You can. We are starting this 2021 with a brand new start. We have named the webinar itself as brand new start webinar. We will definitely meet you there. I will mail you the details, right? So so far in this webinar, currently there are 67 people are with me. They have joined again. I can see your curious soul. I'm very humble in that regard, and thank you all for your time. And I want to put you a question. Why did you come this far in this webinar? At least it is 8:30, right? So it shows your intuition. It shows your spirit, right? So this is all everything I want to say. The consistency and research work ethic is everything. If you have these 2 things, commitment and consistency, right, you will succeed in research. And I want to conclude this webinar by saying that already 25,000 plus members across the globe have already benefited and succeeded in research through our mentor-led technical writing and research services, right? So you can put your comments. We will send you a review feedback. You can write a review about me, about how I connected with you, about the content, right? Yes, we will send you this presentation, Muhammad. You can ask your doubts right now. We have actually lost 200 people on the flow, which actually devastates me, right? So I was actually telling the tip of the iceberg, and that didn't go well today. Anyway, we will hopefully. Yes, thank you, Fatima, for your comment. Enlightening presentation. Thank you. Yes, we have recorded the video. We will send you whatever is recorded. Thank you so much I have told only the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot more to research. And I want to tell you, this is just the beginning, right? So you can join hands. You can reach us through the email ID phd@aristocratresearch.com. There is a spelling mistake. I'll correct it. phd@aristocratresearch.com. You can simply search us in Google, Aristocrat. And if you are in need of any of these 20 things, you can approach us. It is a paid service. We do have dedicated staff, full-time staff, qualified staff, full-time intellectual master degree graduates, PhD candidates, and doctorates working here as well, right? So you can approach us, and thank you so much for your time. Once again, I very humbly tell you a big thank you for being here and spending your time with me. Thank you so much. Good night.